I'm Melissa Robinson, Communications Director for Henry County Government, and this is Henry Talks with our special host, Clayton Cart. Hey, Clayton.
Well, hello. Thanks for having me on again.
But actually, the big guest today is our District 3 Commissioner, Dee Anglyn. Commissioner, thank you so much for being here.
Thank y'all for having me.
We gave you no real notice on this and just had a conversation, so we're going to just talk a little bit about you and the district. So if you're good for that, we'll get going.
Let's roll.
Okay. So you are the District 3 Commissioner, but you've often said you've been in Henry County your whole life, and it goes back even further. So tell us a little bit about that.
So my family roots go back to the land lot release, which we received a lot. That spot actually is now in Butts County.
Okay.
If folks who know their Henry County history, that Henry County was the mother of all counties and was divided up. So when we put in our stake, it was originally Henry County. Now happens to be Butts County. So that is where my family roots started prior to 1840-ish. There in Henry County.
Okay, long time.
Long time. Yeah.
So I know that you are a businessman, successful businessman. You are a commissioner. You wear a lot of hats, but you come from humble roots. I mean, you came from a farming family.
So on my mom's side of the family, my granddad was a peach farmer. At one time, the largest peach farmer in the state of Georgia.
Okay.
Also raised cattle. Unfortunately, we don't have any of those farms anymore.
Okay.
But that was my granddad on my mom's side of the family in Woodbury, Georgia.
That's great. That's right, and it means a lot that you have such a history here. So, let's talk a little bit about. So that does lead me to this, and I'll give Clayton a minute to say something. But you have a deep history in Henry County. You're a commissioner now, so you're helping make decisions to shape our county. Why did you want to get into this forum? Why did you want to become a commissioner? Why did you want to run and put yourself out there?
So folks who may not have heard me say before, my answer is the same. This county has been very, very good to my family, and we have benefited from that. And I want to be able to return some of that gratitude back to the county, a place that I love, a place that I call home, a place that's been home for our family since prior to 1840.
Wow.
Committed to Henry County, and just a way of saying thank you back. And if someone like my family who's been here since then isn't willing to step up to the plate to help with some of the responsibility, why should we expect someone else who's new coming into this county to want to be a part of that?
I agree. And I think having that history, that institutional knowledge, if you will, really does help how you shape what you're doing today in your district. So let's kind of get into that, Clayton, I know there's been several moratoriums. This is all in an effort to plan for your community. Is that right? Is that fair to say?
Correct. And to give a little, since we're talking about history, just a little history on that is, District 3 I've grown up in my entire life. I didn't realize that until I was filling out my thing to run for office. I was like, I've lived in District 3 my entire life.
Okay.
With that, we've seen District 3 make radical changes, just in my lifetime. And Henry County too, but we've gone from a farming community that we were in the late 70s, early 80s, even to the early 90s, to where we are at today. And being able to see those changes, it's been amazing to see that. And I think everybody speaks. There's been a lot of good changes, and there would have been changes that I think, history-wise, if we could have redone, we would have.
Right. No, I get that.
Yeah, and absolutely on that note, Commissioner, your family's been here a long time. My family has been in the South Metro area as well, going back several generations. And under your leadership, you have worked with Henry County staff in the Planning and Zoning Department to kick off several planning initiatives for some of the communities in District 3, specifically the North Ola and the Kellytown communities. Can you talk to us a little bit about those planning efforts and where they stand?
Yeah, so first, I'll give you a little bit of history. So when I came back from college from Mercer, I was a part of a meeting that was out at Shoney's, which is no longer here, by the way, off of 155.
I do remember that.
And at that meeting, the Henry County Development Authority happened to be there. Okay. And the question I had at the time was, coming back from college, why can we not have a planned community like Peachtree City, which just happens to be a really good example of a neighboring community? And the answer at that time was, we're too far gone. And that was in year 2000. So
25 years ago.
25 years ago. So thank you for the question, Clayton. So now we're at year 2025, 25 years later, and we're able to do a master plan community to help with North Ola and to help with Kellytown, because there's still a lot of undeveloped property in those areas. And the communities want to do a better job of conserving that property. And what does that look like moving forward? So we've been able to borrow from other communities things that they've done that have worked to implement into this master plan to help have wider corridors, to help preserve viewing areas, and hopefully have more land conserved by doing conservation properly in this county.
How are you getting, so how are our residents responding to your ideas, to the idea of these master plans? I'm imagining you're getting a lot of support.
Yeah, and there's a lot of questions too.
Okay.
And I would have those.
Sure.
There's still some pushback because a lot of folks in those communities don't want to see the development.
Right.
What I would say is this is a lot of this land's going to be sold off. We need to make sure that as it is being sold off, that it is properly protected and or conserved for those areas.
I agree.
I can't control who wants to sell their property. But what we can do through the master plan is put some additional restrictions in place to help better protect the community. And that's the overall goal, is to help protect the integrity of those communities as they change over the next 40 years.
Right.
And change is hard, I get it. But change is something that we as Henry Countyans have had to embrace if you look since 1980.
Well, I want to think, when you were a young child, you're still a young man, but when you're a young child,
That's
I'm
kind.
sure you can. I'm sure you can point to a couple of things that resonate with you very vividly. What has changed so drastically from when you were a kid?
There's
so much. I know.
There's a couple. I mean, I can tell stories of going around the square and not seeing another car.
Really?
And I live just off the square now. But yeah, you could go through the square certain times a day and you might not see another car.
Wow.
Those of us who grew up here used to joke around that after high school or after hours at school, at the high school, we would meet up at the square. I mean, that would be where you would go. That was the meetup spot.
Okay.
Also, one thing that was very vivid to me, and I'll never forget this, if you go out past the McDonough post office, I was coming home from college one day, and as I was driving home, a lot of development on that road had taken place with some new stuff that had happened within the city of McDonough.
Okay.
I didn't know what road I was on. I literally had to pull over and stop because I didn't recognize the buildings.
It looked that different.
It looked that different.
That's great.
And that's how fast, during that time period, a lot of the growth was happening.
Right. People want to come. But here's the thing. The good thing is something so great about Henry County. People want to come here. It's a beautiful community. I mean.
So, this is the challenge.
Okay.
A lot of folks want to be moving to Henry County. But when they move to Henry County, they kind of want that gate to be shut.
Right.
And I would say maybe look at it at a different perspective. My family's been here since essentially the founding of Henry County. We have welcomed y'all. It is a welcoming community.
Right.
We want y'all here. We want smart growth. I think that is what we're striving for. I know we've got some challenges from the past probably 10 to 20 years that we weren't very diligent with in the past. But all that being said is, we're a welcoming community. We welcomed you. Help welcome the new folks that are also coming in.
I love that. I think it's so important too. It's such an important message.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, as we talk about all this growth, it's really important to acknowledge that Commissioner Anglyn and the rest of the board, while they undergo these master planning efforts, they actually adopted moratoriums in the areas so that any landowners or prospective developers looking to go in those areas, they actually have to wait. They have to wait until these new regulations and these new ordinances can be adopted, so that it just creates a pause, gives us a pause in those areas. And then the county actually ultimately adopted a county-wide residential moratorium, because in addition to these localized plans in District 3, we are working on a county-wide rewrite of our development code. And the new code is expected to be adopted later this year by the board, at which time that moratorium would lift, and applicants could then again pursue a request, but they would be under the new regulations.
So do the moratoriums you put in place kind of work right in with the county's moratorium? Is that they all work in connection with each other?
So the first moratorium we had in place was the North Orla moratorium.
Right.
And that was to take care of the master plan community. The initial period was a 1 year on that one. Then we moved to the Kellytown moratorium, which we passed.
Okay.
Shortly after the Kellytown moratorium was passed, I made the motion to enact the ULDC moratorium for the entire county, which the board agreed with. So with that being said, that ULDC moratorium is for a period of 6 months.
Okay.
Now, per state law, we can extend that another 6 months if it is needed to finish up the ULDC if it's not finished within that 6 months.
Okay.
So one of the things that I say and maybe buck a little bit against is there's been a lot of pushback that, within District 3 we work with the developers. Well, if that were the case, why would I enact moratoriums?
Right. No, that's 100%.
Because that's directly pushing back against what they're striving to do. Now, here's a very positive that we've seen with the moratoriums and with the master plans, which I didn't expect. We have had developers come to us to want to be included in those master planned areas, and developers who are bringing higher quality product in from outside the state. So I say all that to say this is, and they want to conserve more property.
Okay.
So
The
those
developer
things,
wants to conserve
they
more
want to
property.
conserve.
Okay.
So typically a conservation subdivision is a 40-60 split, 40% conserved, 60% developed. We've had them step up to the table and say, hey, look, we'll conserve 60% of the property if you let us do 40 and be a part of the master plan.
Wow.
So I say all that is, other folks see value in planning. They see the value and the quality that it takes to bring. So the master plans will help drive that quality. I'll even say in Ola area, we pushed against the development for about 4 or 5 years. Well, Trillith, who's very well known over in
Right.
Fayette,
Mhm.
came to the table and did the renderings and the architectural design of it. That's the first project that Trillith has been involved in, or there shouldn't say Trillith, but the architect that did Trillith
Right.
in Henry County.
Wow.
So we are driving higher quality, not just in District 3, but in the entire county. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, no.
Clayton.
I think it's important. I think it's
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, one thing about the moratoriums is it gives us a pause on developments, but it also helps give us a little more time for some of our road projects that are coming in to advance through right-of-way acquisition. And we do have a couple of projects even starting to get into construction, because I think it's always a hot topic in Henry County that, yes, we have a lot of development, but there's also a lot of traffic. And so the good news is that we have about 35 major projects across the county in the works. So,
How would you even know that, Clayton? How do you know so much about transportation?
well,
It's your passion?
yeah, it's my passion,
Okay.
and I was very thankful about a month ago when the SPLOST department added a public outreach coordinator position.
There you go.
And I was gracious and thankful to begin that position, and so that now I can help share with all of Henry County all of the projects. And it's county projects, it's some projects by the State Department
Sure.
of Transportation, as well as a couple city projects throughout the county.
Well, we're very happy to have him on board
Yeah,
with us.
and I'll say this to kind of piggyback on what Clayton was saying there is, we need to understand how important SPLOS is in Henry County.
True.
And what a good job that we are doing from a county side with our roads. Because if we were not, this county would be complete gridlock. We think it's bad now. If there was not SPLOS, it would be on lockdown on the roads. And I say that because I've met with our state leaders. I've met with our federal leaders, Congress. They are not sending really any more funds this way than what we've
Right.
already seen. So with
Okay.
that being said, with that, we've got to take a more proactive approach on the county side, which we are doing, which is why we've fronted the money for SPLOS to go ahead and get these projects going that they just voted on at the ballot this past November.
Right.
That has not been done in Henry County before. And that's a huge, to me, commitment from us as commissioners to the constituents saying, we understand and we hear you at how important this is. We are going to front the money before it's collected to help get these projects started.
No, that's so important. And I think, we try to educate about SPLOST, and it's important to know, and you may have better figures on this, most counties, or at least a majority of counties, have some sort of a SPLOST program. So as much as people visiting us and driving through and buying gas, they're paying the SPLOST tax. We are also doing that in other counties that we visit. So it's not a burden on the homeowners per se, it's a sales tax that goes to that. And I think that, would you say most counties have that?
So out of Georgia's 159 counties, presently 156 of them have a SPLOST program in effect.
I didn't think you really had that fact, but yeah, that's great. Thank you for that. That's a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
that's tons. No, I think it is so important. It's important to educate people, and I think you're doing a great job with that. So I want to ask you, and we're going to kind of wrap this up. I have a couple of things I want to ask you. And the first thing is, coming in as a commissioner, before you became a commissioner and where you are now, what was the biggest surprise? Or was there a surprise? Did you know all you were getting into? Or was there something that maybe you were like, wow, I have no idea?
I think the biggest surprise for me, which is a very good surprise, pleasant surprise,
Good.
is our staff.
Okay.
And I think our county citizens, our constituents, need to realize the team that we have here and understand that we have a lot of people who are proactively working to help. We have changes that are coming. We know we're not perfect, but the team that was here that has been able to help drive the initiatives for District 3, they've made that happen. Maybe I get the credit because I'm up there as the board member, but it's the team that really deserves the credit. Our planning and zoning staff on the master plans, our team that helps do the roads. It's just, our team is amazing.
You know what? I have nothing else, because I thank you so much for saying that. I agree. We have an incredible staff here, every department, and they work so hard for Henry County. Most of us live in Henry County, and we want this to be the best place. So thank you for saying that. That means a lot to everyone.
I'm going to say one other thing.
Go ahead.
I think the county residents also need to understand, from my time on the board, so I was appointed coming in.
Right.
And then was elected. With that being said, we have a very good board of commissioners.
We do.
The best that I have seen in many years in Henry County, that are willing to work together to accomplish the challenges we've got ahead of us. Some of those challenges probably may have been self-induced. Some of those challenges come from the past. But we have to work looking out of the front windshield.
Right.
We understand what's happened by looking in the rearview mirror, but we are facing those challenges and we are tackling them.
I think
So they need to we've got a good working board,
We
and
do.
that is something I am very thankful for, because I can have a conversation with each of the commissioners that are on the board. That has not always been the case.
No, I agree, and I think this is a great board. I think you work well together. Even if you don't agree on everything together, you still work with each other. It's diplomatic, so.
And to that point, I tell folks, like, for the budget, because I'm a numbers guy,
I know.
we may not all agree on everything that's in the budget, but I can promise you we're not wasting money. We may not all agree on it, but we're not wasting funds.
Right.
And I think that's important to understand too.
It is. It's important for people to know that. I want to give Clayton an opportunity just to give us a quick update on some of the projects going on in District 3, any of the repavings, or I know there's a lot of repaving going on.
Yeah, so two major projects I want to touch on briefly that are in District 3. The first is the northern section of the McDonough Parkway, that motorists, as they drive by Highway 155 at Turner Church Road, will see the beginnings of a bridge being built, and that bridge will actually help carry motorists over Highway 155. And that's part of the broader McDonough Parkway. It's going to be a bypass around the town square when it's all said and done in about a year's time. And then the second project is the State Route 81 widening. That's another big project. It's been underway for almost a decade through design and having to acquire all of the right-of-way. But that project is in a joint project with Districts 1 and 3,
Right.
and is scheduled to accept construction bids in January of 2026, but working in collaboration with Georgia DOT. And so around next spring 2026, we should start see construction along Highway 81.
Wonderful. A nice groundbreaking ceremonies in the works, I think.
We will definitely be sure and share plenty of pictures and all of the latest once that and all of our other projects get underway.
Great. Great. Anything for you? Last word, Commissioner? Anything you want people to know?
No, I just want to tell everybody thank y'all. Thank you for the opportunity to have the podcast. I
Oh,
think
sure.
this is the first time we've started this conversation.
It is.
So I appreciate that, and I appreciate people's patience with us. I know it can be slow sometimes. Government is probably kind of intended to be slow.
Right.
And I come from the private sector where we tend to do things much faster. But with that being said, thank you to everybody in the county. Thank you to District 3 in particular.
Yes.
And thank you to y'all.
Of course, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for being here. We're going to end this for now. I want to thank you for watching or listening. Thanks to Clayton Cart. And we will bring him back, Commissioner Anglyn, back next time. And we will see you next time on Henry Talks. Thanks.